Hi guys, welcome to what I think is the fourth video of my series of detailed scrap room videos for January, February of 2016. In this series, I'm just going through my scrap room bit by bit. I have an overall video that shows you guys my overall scrap room layout and talks just very briefly about how I have things stored. So I do have an overall video. If you do not want to see a detailed, and I mean really detailed, look at this section of my scrap room is where I'm going to focus on today. Go ahead and have a look at my overall video because I will link that in the information section below. I will also link the details part 1, which is, I guess, the second video, so I'm getting mixed up about my numbers because I have them numbered in a funny way. But in the details number 1, I briefly go over my computer desk, which is not all that scrappy related, so it's not all that riveting. But then I go over how I have things stored in this 3x4 bank of recollections cubes and how I have the pegboard and that sort of thing. In the details number 2, which would be the third video in this series, because we count the overall one as number 1, I kind of go into this section right here, right up until the edge of my work area. I'm pretty sure I covered that unit in that video. I hope so, because today in the details number 3, which is the fourth installment, I'm going to start right here and work my way as far as I can in a reasonable amount of time, and then I'll stop and post the rest another time. So if you're interested in just my overall room, check out the link below because that is a much faster paced video than the one you're about to see. If you want to see the details 1 or the details 2, check out the links below because those will tell you some of the other parts, and I'm going to start right here. So I'm picking up where I left off on the last one, so I'm going to talk about this 2x3 bank of recollections cubes. I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about this area here and my punches. So above my punches, I have some of my kids' artwork, and Sophie had the same teacher and did that, and then they also drew pictures of me. Those were for Mother's Day, and so I put them up in my scrap room. I like to keep my kids' artwork around the room. They tend to make a lot more artwork than what I can feasibly save, but I do like to keep a sampling of some of the things. So the way that I store my punches is on these 3 racks. They're actually curtain rods, and I think they're Umbra brand curtain rods. I just got them at a home supply store like Home Depot or Kent or whatever. And they do a good job of storing my punches. The punches are heavy, so you do have to make sure that you don't, like, this could extend quite a bit more, but if I did, then the center part of it would be pretty weak. So you just have to make sure that you don't extend them too far if you have the telescoping kind, because the center gets pretty weak the further out it's pulled. And make sure that you use your, support brackets and install them on a stud and that sort of thing. I really love the IKEA racks that you can get for punches. They're not made for punches. I think they're towel racks that people use in their scrap rooms, but we don't have an IKEA here, so this is what I did. And I did this several years ago, and I reinstalled them when I moved rooms because it really works very well for me. I find I am much more likely, even though I don't use punches all that often, I think I would use them even less frequently if I stored them away in a drawer or basket someplace. So I really do like having them out. It's also really nice having them out because my friends are a lot more likely to borrow them when they come over to scrap. They always kind of browse my racks and grab a punch that they want, and I encourage them to do that because, the more we use these products, the better, the more value we get out of them, especially with tools. So underneath my punch racks, I have 2 recollections. They're not cubes, they're half cubes, so they're half the depth. They're the full height, though, of a cube. And this one has these dividers to give you these 9 cubby holes. And I have my markers stored in them. These are my favorite markers that I grab for journaling. So a lot of these are Stettler Tri Plus fine liners. Let me see if I can make that a little bit more clear for you. There we go. These are my very favorite markers. I love the pigment of them. I love how smooth they write. They're markers that write like a pen, and so I love them. I also like these Zig writers, although my black and gray ones are dried up because I use them so often. And then I just have a couple of like my favorite. This is a Desserts branded twin tip marker that I just like the color of, so I grabbed that and put that there. So these are just kind of pens that I would grab for normal journaling. These are all slick surface pens. So I have I'm just going to move that. So I have a set of Sharpies. I actually have 2 sets of Sharpies. Some of them are elsewhere in the house, but they're there. And then I also have a couple of sets in medium and fine of these Lumocolor by Stettler markers. And I used these in grad school because we had to do a lot of, actually it wasn't in grad school, I think it was in undergrad that we did a lot of coloring in of overheads of different parts of the brain. And so I had 2 sets of those already in fine and in medium, and so I've had those for years, and I love them because they work really well on slick surfaces. I have had to buy some Sharpies since then just because some of these are running out, and they're in primary colors, and I like these prettier colors. Below that, we have specialty markers, so I have, and pens. So I have Stettler Triplus gel liners. Again, I love the Stettler brand, so I got these. When I was looking for gel pens, I decided to get the Stettler ones because I like the brand. And then I have like some metallic pens and some paint pens and that sort of thing. I think my glitter pens are in there. Oh, no, glitter pens are somewhere else. Then these are other specialty markers. So I have my Wink of Stella right here, and I have clear, gold, yellow, red, and pink because those were the colors I thought I was most likely to use. I use them in cards. And then I have Tim Holtz Distress markers here, which I have for mixed media purposes, which you guys know I don't do YouTube videos of any of my mixed media stuff, but I do dabble in it a little bit. Then I have all of my glitter markers, or metallic juicy markers, and I don't really buy a lot of these. These are old from when I first started scrapbooking. I got these Martha Stewart glitter markers. They're okay, they work fine, but I don't use them all that often. Then I have a bunch of dual brush pen markers. I think these are all by Tombow. So I have my new ones up here just because they're like fresh, new, vibrant colors, so I don't want to forget about them. And then I have all of the ones that I bought these when I first started scrapbooking, and they're still full of ink. Like, they're great, even though I've used them a lot. So I have all of those, and this is what they look like. And they have like a writing marker on one end, like that you could, do some journaling or some fine lining in. And then they have a brush tip on the other end that you can do some coloring and some different techniques with. I do have a couple of other Tombow branded things there because I did a guest post for them at one point. So I've got their Super Mister, which is great for doing watercolor effects with these markers. And then I have just like the whole catalog of their brush pens so that I can, if I'm missing a color, I can pick it out and order it, know the real name of it. Then next to that, I have my Stampin' Up! Watercolor pencils. And then I just stuck this here more to hold space than anything else. This is a Chamel washi tape dispenser. I just have, I think this is Jelly Bean Soup tape. And it's like craft tape with different words on it. Then I have my Prisma color pencils, which I love. I know there have been some problems in the art world with the Prisma-colored pencils, but I think that is specific to more recently manufactured runs of those pencils. I have the Scholar pencils, and I have, I guess, the higher-end pencils that are above the Scholar ones, and I love them both. They both have great pigmenting, and I don't find that mine break. I think the problem that a lot of artists have with the more recently manufactured Prisma-colored pencils is that they tend to break a lot. Mine don't, so I'm happy with them. And I just keep my pencil sharpener right on top of it, and then I have my Stampin' Write markers. So these are all markers that coordinate with my Stampin' Up! Inks. I have more inks than I have markers, but I have markers for all of my most frequently used and most loved inks. Because you can do different techniques with the markers than you do with the inks. Then I have just this little tray, it's like a little wooden or bamboo tray with just an assortment of things, including a ring I was wearing one day and took off because I was getting in the way. This is my little tool carousel, and I keep all of my go-to tools in here. So I have all of my liquid glues in here, and I keep this is a Whimsy pin that Stephanie Hart used to make these and have to sell them in an Etsy shop. And it's just kind of keeping my glossy accents from getting clogged up. As you can see, I'm almost out of glossy accents. I have a new bottle right there. Waiting in the wings. Then I keep like just paintbrushes if I need to grab one. Most of my paintbrushes are stored someplace else, but I like to keep a couple out at hand just in case I need one. I keep my ATG in the center and a couple of other tape runners right here. I keep my tiny attacher there and all of my foam tape. And then these are just tools. One tool that I like to have is this navy blue. I like to have wire cutters close at hand for if I ever need to cut something that's metal, like the tongs of Brad. I also use these for trimming up the edges of washi tape. Not washi tape, wood veneers. Washi tape doesn't need metal trimmers. Yeah, so these are just for my jewelry making supplies. And I keep these more for doll customizing purposes. I sometimes need to grab these, and so I keep them at hand there. And then I keep my erasers in there, and I keep my tweezers in here. So that's my carousel. I do keep my most used pens in this owl cup. And then this is new in my room. I've kind of changed this area around. I have a Stampin' Scrub cleaner, so this is one of those pads that you clean your stamps with, and these surfaces come out and you can clean them with soap and water in your kitchen and then put them back. I do that maybe once a year or so. And then I have a basket. This is a Martha Stewart little box from Staples, and it holds all of my paper clips. And I keep some lotion in my room. My friend Tanya gave me this, I think, for my birthday one year or something. And I love Lush, and it is one of their charity pots. It smells delicious, this cream. It's so good. It makes me want to eat. Makes me hungry. Then I have some drawers here. It looks like an apothecary drawer set, but they're actually just 3 drawers. They're all connected. So in this one says journaling cards, tags, and pockets. So I'll take it out and show you what's in it, because I take my drawers right out when I'm using them usually. So under tags, I obviously have, or these are journaling cards. So under journaling cards, I have like just anything that could be used for journaling that isn't a tag. So these little cards from different, this was from an Allison Craft collection, I believe. And I've got these little bingo cards still from way back in the day when they were popular. I've got some library cards and library pockets, and just a variety of little cards. And then these are tags, and I just keep my tags in here. I've got some blank shipping tags, a whole bunch of blank shipping tags in different colors, and some with prints on them from different collections and sets that I've bought over the years. And then I have some little teeny weeny tags as well, including these that I just found. And I'd love to use these on something. They're just so cute. I don't know who makes them. And then in the last one, I have my paper bags and envelopes. So I have some little glassine bags and little paper bags and tissue bags, and some with little lines on them. And then some envelopes and pockets and that sort of thing. So some of them are by Maya Road. And then this, I got at that Muji store in New York City. And it's like a little pad of papers that are pre-cut and you can make envelopes out of them just by folding them. So I thought that was really cool. And then a set of envelopes that somebody sent me. One of my YouTube subscribers sent me those. And I like storing my stuff like this because this is the way that I scrapbook. I kind of, when I'm scrapbooking and I feel like I need something, I'm like, oh, I need a journaling card, so I'll reach for these two for that. Or, you know, I'd like to have a pocket to put something in, and so then I'll reach for that. This one just has enamel dots. I used to store my enamel dots in a little container over there, but I found that it wasn't all that, like when I need an enamel dot, I need an enamel dot. I don't necessarily need to remind myself that I have enamel dots, so I was kind of putting it there to remember to use them, but I use them so frequently that I'm not going to forget about them, and so I put them in this drawer just because they get really messy over there. Because every time I use them, they fall out of the container, and the container was really too small for the number that I have. So these are all partial packages of enamel dots that I've gotten from kits along the way. I haven't bought many enamel dots separate. And then the bottom, and then those two are empty, just kind of to keep room for whatever the next up-and-coming thing is going to be that I'm going to love and get a lot of. So I can put them in there. Then we have rolls of glitter tape. So I got a big pack of glitter tape on one of those daily deal websites like Crafty Steals or something like that for super cheap. And so I bought a whole pack of it. It came with like 12 rolls or something, even though I was pretty sure I would never use 12 rolls. It's nice to have an assortment of options, and it was pretty cheap, so I got it. And then since then I've also gotten a couple of rolls in kits and stuff. And then I also have stuff that's just similar to glitter tape. So this is glitter ribbon, but it's just softer than glitter tape. And then I keep my frames all right here. So these are tiny little frames that are pretty old. But then I have like all of those Maggie Holmes and crepe paper frames and any other brand. I've got some Heidi Swapp frames. I love using frames, so I do have a lot of them. And usually when you buy a package of frames, or if they come in your kit, there's a lot in it, so there's way more than what you can use in that month. So I always have a lot of leftover frames, even though I do use them a lot. So next to that, we have my basket, and I showed this basket in a little bit more detail in my overall scrap room video. There will be some overlap of my overall room video and then my detailed room videos. But basically, this is where I plan to keep new stuff. This is not new stuff right now because I don't own any new stuff. But this is where I plan to put like a collection pack that I buy and I want to make sure that I use, or like new stuff that I just have and don't want to forget about, or special stuff that I don't want to get lost in my stash. And so right now I have some stuff, like I bought some stuff that I never buy, like metal embellishments. So I never buy that kind of stuff. I bought these for doll stuff, but I never buy metal embellishments, but I thought it might be cool for layering to have some of these sorts of things. So, and look at these arrows by see, I never look at Tim Holtz and Prima stuff, so I just decided to kind of buy a few things that are outside my comfort zone and try it. And I also picked up some of these because I loved these and they didn't come in any kits this year, so I picked them up. They were on sale, I think, from the Wonder collection from Crepe Paper, and so I wanted to try those. And then these came in a kit, but I used them all up really quickly and I loved them, so I bought another package of them. Maggie Holmes Crepe Paper flags. I bought a thing of Prima doilies, just little ones that I thought would be cool for layering. I bought some of these and I've already used some of them. And then I bought just like, what is this called? Ephemera hardware from Maggie Holmes. I love Maggie Holmes, so I buy almost everything that she has. I just have like an assortment of things. And then I have some collections that I don't want to forget about. And they're not new or anything, so I don't need to kind of show them to you. I have some Ellie Studio and Evalicious tags here that I don't want to forget and make sure that I use. I have some photos I plan to scrapbook. And then I have the Mimosa embellishment kit, plus these enamel dots, which didn't come with it, but I thought they coordinated nicely. So there's lots and lots of goodies in a little dish in there from the Mimosa kit, embellishment kit. And then this is sort of like more of the same. So these are extras that I bought with my last Scraptastic Kit Club kit. they're giving you the option to add on a few coordinating items, and so I bought a couple of packages of stuff and put them there. Overflow punches are right here, and I have this tool from Creating Memories that I love. It consists of this long thing and these cartridges that each punch a different kind of a border, and then this thing here that makes it all work. And if you've been watching my process videos, you may have caught a layout or two that uses one of these patterns, and I really love that tool. It's a little bit cumbersome to find all the parts and put it together and punch, but I really love the outcome, especially this one here is probably my very favorite border punch ever. It's like these interlocking frames. Let me see it so that it doesn't, so that you can see the shape but not get a whole lot of glare. That's what it looks like. And I like to outline it, even though it's really, really tedious to outline. It looks really great outlined. It also looks great punched in black. I use these little things here a lot around my craft room for organizing things, like I'll punch. I use this one for organizing my chipboard pieces, for example, or I mean my die cut pieces. Okay, so one of the things that I did when I changed my storage is I changed the way that I store my die cuts. So I used to keep my die cuts in little dollar store bins by collection, and I can link the video for that in the information section below. That was a while ago. Then I started storing them in those in little baggies, and I'll link the video for that in the information section below. But now I'm sort of still searching for the perfect die cut storage solution. Now I have this, which I kind of copied this idea from there are a number of crafters who use this approach to sorting their die cuts. Jen Scow was one of them. I hope I pronounced her name right. I always mispronounce people's names. I'm sorry to anybody who I mispronounce your name. I try, but I just don't always. I often see people's names but don't hear them because I don't get a chance to watch many videos. Anyhow, I keep my die cuts like this. I went and bit the bullet, separated all of my die cuts by color, so they're all mixed up. All different manufacturers and collections are all mixed up. And these little cases here, they're like 4.5 by 6.5, and they come in these options cases. So, oh no, it's iris, not options. And it opens up like this. And I've used them all, but they store in like that. But I don't have a place to keep this, and it's more convenient for me to have my die cuts in a drawer than in a case like that. So I've taken them out and I store my die cuts like this. I used one of those punches up there that I just showed you right over there. It's a Stampin' Up! Little tiny punch to punch some washi tape, and I just put the tape on a piece of cardstock to make it stiff enough to punch, and then I tore it off after it was punched and stuck it onto the case. And so I have orange, I have yellow, I have green. You guys get the picture. I separated out turquoise and blue just because I have trouble deciding where blue ends and green begins, and it's easier for me to just take anything that's bluey green and put it in one. Then I have gold as a separate one, so I have like all the colors of the rainbow from pink to purple, and then I have one that's multicolored that I just couldn't decide which color to put it in. I have one that's black and gray, and then one that is shades of brown. So I haven't used it since I've stored it this way. I only did this the other day and I haven't scrapbooked yet, so I hope that that helps me use them a little bit more. Then for chipboard, I haven't really changed the way that I store my chipboard. I still store, like a lot of times you get chipboard on pieces, on boards like this that are 6 by 12, so these fit quite nicely in here. This is a Recollections branded drawer, and I just don't have the crossway dividers in it. I have a divider here and I have a divider back there that just holds these ones up. It keeps them from sliding around, but then I don't put any of the other ones in. So my miscellaneous chipboard, and most of my chipboard here is quite old, but I hang on to it because I love, I can't get rid of this Basic Gray chipboard because Basic Gray was my first scrapbooking company that I really loved. And even though I don't use a lot of their stuff anymore, I still just really love these designs. It's more sentimental than anything else, but I do sometimes reach for these because I know the colors and that sort of thing. Then I keep kind of like collection-based chipboard and packages of chipboard right here in this section, in this first section. And then in the last section, I keep any icon chipboard and similar types of pieces right here. So what I mean by icons, I mean arrows, geotags, cameras, hearts, speech bubbles, stars, and chevron, and these hexagons. So these are like just standard classic shapes that I sometimes feel like, oh, I need a star, I need some stars, so I just come here and find my stars. You know, I need a geotag, so I know that all my geotags are here. So within those icons, there are certain icons that I have a whole lot of and that I tend to reach for specifically. So for those, I made a separate case. So these are all of my hearts that are chipboard. These are all of my arrows that are chipboard. And I also have a set of arrow dies, so I decided to store them right on the case. So let me show you what I did. So I have all of my arrows of all different types, and these are arrow stickers that came on a sheet, but they tend to peel off, so I just kind of, what I did was I just went with my jeans, and I kind of went like that until it wasn't sticky anymore, and then I threw it in my case, just so that these could be stored with my other arrows. And then I just ran a strip of that orange, really sticky strip tape and stuck my dies to the lid, so that if I can't find a good arrow in here, I know I could always make one. I'll mention that there are still a few arrows amongst these, just because I didn't take every single arrow off of these sheets, but they're mostly in there. And then for butterflies, again, I just punched a butterfly shape out of washi tape. I punched a heart shape out of washi tape, and this is a piece of washi tape that had an arrow on it. So I did the same thing with butterflies. I have all my chipboard butterflies, and like anything like acrylic or chips of butterfly-ish shapes are all right there. And I did the same thing with flowers, even though I don't have that many flowers. I had like one package of flowers and I didn't know what to do with it, so I just put them in that and put them there. Then I have one more cube down here with that had 4 drawers, but I took 2 of the drawers out. Keep my baby wipes right here, and then I get a lot of questions about my wood veneer, which I used to keep in one really tall tower on my work surface. Again, it was another example of a time when I was keeping them out to remember that I have them, but I never forget wood veneer because it's one of those things that we reach for all the time now. So I just decided to store it in this little cubby here, and that way it's not taking up room on my desk, and I know what I have, and I have it all arranged by icons basically. So I have asterisks and starish things right there that aren't exact stars, because I do have a separate one that's just stars. And then I have hexagons, and then I have raindrops and clouds and that sort of thing. Then I have hearts of all sorts. So I've got different brands together. Then I have this set of little buttons. And then I have like miscellaneous things, so cameras and birds and boats and things that don't fit in any of the other categories. Then I have stars, like classic stars. Then I have all like typography things. So these are all asterisks, geotags, @ symbols, ampersands, and that sort of thing. Then I have some, I don't know, that's like a set that all goes together, I think. Speech bubbles and phrases and stuff. Then I have triangles and chevrons. Then I have arrows. and a couple frames in there too. And then I have people, and okay, so this is my chance. Somebody sent me a whole bunch of girls because I was running out of girls because I have mostly girls in my family, and I was going to send them all of, like a bunch of boys in return. And I received their girls and I added them to my stash, but I was hanging on to the envelope so that I could like remember the person's name and thank them and send them the boys, and I lost it. I don't know what happened to that envelope, but like I lost it almost right away, and I couldn't. I thought it would show up, but it just, I've really thoroughly cleaned my room several times. This was like months ago. So if you happen to be watching and you sent me the girls, thank you, thank you, thank you. I did not mean to be ungrateful for that. Thank you so much. I love having my girls. And I would love to send you some boys and a few other things. So leave me a message, contact me somehow, and I will send you some boys. Okay, and then I have a larger wood veneer that doesn't fit into the other ones. Oh, I feel like such a heel when that happens, when I don't do what I plan to do. Yeah. Anyhow, I have a label maker in here. So this is one of those embossing label makers. I actually have two. I have like wait a minute, it looks like I have three. How did I get three? Oh, my sister gave me one. That's right. Yeah, so I have this Dymo one that I've had forever, but it's this weird scripty type of font that I'm not in love with. And I think you can buy different wheels. I think you could take this apart and put a different wheel in it, but I just don't have any, so I don't really know where to get them or how to do that. Then my sister gave me this one, which is really cute. It has one of those really nice block alphabets that I love. And then I went on Etsy and bought one of these, and I bought two different fonts for it. So I bought an uppercase and a lowercase, and this font is really similar to the one that my sister gave me, but it's a little bit more curvy, so it looks kind of more futuristic or something like that. Kind of like retro futuristic. That's an oxymoron, but you know, the old-fashioned futuristic font, that's what I mean. And I've got a bunch of different tapes as well. Oops, sorry. I've got a bunch of different tapes as well. So I just keep it all in there. And then these are old embellishments that, oh, I can't let go of. I use them for, especially these ones, these Stampin' Up! Bling and pearls and stuff. I use those on cards, so I'm not, you know, I don't need to give those up. But there's a bunch of stuff in here that I really don't use, and I don't have the wherewithal to sort those out and get rid of them yet. Then I have some shelves over here, and excuse my little missing piece of trim here. It's got ripped off. I had to iron this on. These are custom cut tabletops, and so I had to iron on this trim, and I must not have done a good job there because it came off. So on this little shelf, I keep my flare badges, which I store on this. It's a magnetic sheet, but they don't stick to it very effectively. It's made for storing your dies, but it tends to warp, so your dies won't stick to it because it's curvy. And I just have them taped on. So I ran a strip of that glue, and I just tape them on. And I keep all my flare there. I like to be able to see it all at a glance instead of having to, you know, like flip through it and try it, because they all flip over the wrong way, and then you don't really know what to have. And then I have a container here with all of my buttons, and I'll show you what they look like. Ooh, aren't they pretty? Things look so pretty when it's color coordinated like that, like when it's matched, when it's sorted by color. I love those. They're so pretty. I mostly use buttons on cards, and I do have an extra package of green buttons that I don't even remember where I got those, but I got them somewhere. Then I have two die cut machines. I keep my Big Shot right here. It fits in a cube if you kind of push it all the way back. And the handle, you can leave the handle on it. I don't even know if the handle comes off of a Big Shot. And the cutting mats and stuff go right beside it, so it all fits in one cube if you take two shelves out. So a cube will fit a big shot and its stuff, and also you have an extra shelf for something else. Then down here I have my Spellbinder, what is this called? Grand Caliber. You have to take the handle off of it in order for it to fit here. I keep its mats right there, and then I keep my little tiny trimmer, Creating Memories trimmer that I use for Project Life, right there. And then I have this really pretty box. It's a Body Shop box, and it keeps all of my embossing folders in it. So that's the embossing folders I have. Most of them are old. I haven't bought a new embossing folder in years. Here's where I used to store my dies, but now I store them over by my stamps, and I showed you that in the details video 1. But I do have a few larger dies, like wafer thin dies, that are for chipboard mini albums and stuff that I have to use your Grand Caliber for because they won't fit through the Big Shot. I keep them here for now. I might sell them or do something with them, but for now I'm keeping them. I have more dies here, so this is a really cute alphabet set by Stampin' Up! I actually really love this alphabet set. I bought it for doing mini albums, but I don't do mini albums anymore. Oh, those are... I happened to pick the one that doesn't have any actual letters on it. Let's see. That's what the font looks like. It's a nice classic font. It's a really nice size, too. It's the size of a lot of thickers. It's good for titles. I keep like random dies that I just really like, that I like. They don't really have a home. Some of them are Stampin' Up, and so I just keep them all in that basket. Here is where I keep my steel ruled dies. My little abominable snowman is sticking out there. He's so cute. Steel ruled dies are right here. That's all that I have is those. Oh, no, and those. I have a bunch of hexagons because I did a hexagon project at one point. And yeah, so those are the dies that I have. And I do have more. These are mostly like project dies, like 3D items, like milk cartons and boxes and that sort of thing. This is where I keep my extra adhesive. So this is not my everyday adhesive, but extra stuff. So I use this terrifically tacky tape or redline tape or whatever you want to call it. Different brands call it different things, but this is what I use for things that need to really, really stick. And I have my hot glue gun, and I just keep this cutting board here just to rest it on. And I have things like styrofoam glue and for my Winter Village, and just like specialty glue that I don't use all that often. Then this is where I keep tags and envelopes that are kind of like bulk tags and envelopes. So if I were to ever do like an organizing project, or if I needed to like make a bunch of tags, it would be mostly for storage, or for if I were like making a big project that I needed lots of something. And then these are masks, but they're more masks for mixed media projects. They're not things they're not designs that I typically reach for when I'm doing scrapbooking. So I keep them in a separate place just so that they don't clutter up where I keep my scrapbooking ones, which is right here. This is where I keep my scrapbooking specific masks and stencils. So, but that's in the bank behind, and I think I'm done now. That's enough for this video. So that is this section of my craft room, from there all the way down to there. So my next video will share this little section of my craft room right here.